today actually marks 85 years since a group of Aboriginal activists marched through the streets of Sydney protesting some of the harsh government policies that were facing their people that saw them displaced from country, culture, community, law, LORE. So they came together on this day. And at the time, White Australia was actually celebrating the 150th anniversary of the landing of the First Fleet in Sydney Cove. So two different contrasts, two different things happening on that day. But it was a time that actually, it's been dubbed the birth of modern Indigenous activism. So a very momentous day. An occasion for everyone coming together.
Who are some of the pioneers of the Day of Mourning?
So there are a number of key players. There are about 100 people in this protest. I would say they all played a key role, but some of them include Auntie Margaret Tucker, Sir Douglas Nicholls, Auntie Pearl Gibbs, and also Yorta Yorta man Jack Patton. I actually spoke to his grandson, John Patton, who is also a historian, and he told me just about what it means to celebrate heroes and trying to bring attention to some of these Indigenous leaders at the time. So let's take a look at what he had to say.
We do a better job of celebrating black voices from overseas than we do our own. Every Australian knows who Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is. Every Australian, or most, would know who Malcolm X is, or even possibly Rosa Parks. But how many know who William Cooper, Jack Patton, Margaret Tucker? These are people who surrendered much of their lives to the cause, that they were trying to contribute to a better Australia. And that is something worth celebrating.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that since 1938, these events have been held every day, and we should know the names of the people behind them. There are also going to be some Invasion Day rallies. We've seen those each year. What might we expect?
Well, these rallies have actually started to gain a lot of momentum in the past 10 years, specifically here in Melbourne, where a lot of the community organisers are actually descendants from these key leaders back in the 1930s. So we'll be seeing rallies across the country today. Each community is different. They might be protesting for different things. It's important to note that when people come together for these occasions, it's all encompassing. They're wanting to raise awareness about certain issues, including deaths in custody, better healthcare, just equality, and echoing the sentiments that many of these leaders back in the 1930s were talking about. So, you know, this day in 1938 really was the start of a political movement that we're starting to see today.
Yeah, sadly, a lot of those issues are still very current today as they were back then. Jetta, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And one of the Day of Mourning events has just wrapped up in St Kilda in Melbourne. Reporter Roseanne Maloney is there for us. Roseanne, good morning. So what's the feeling like where you are?
Good morning, Michael. It's been an incredibly moving service here this morning on Yurok country. Around 600 people were here earlier to watch the service. I'm here at the moment with Jason Briggs, who is the chair of the Boonwurrung Land and Sea Council. Jason, what is today about this service here?
Wirkan Dillinja in the Boonwurrung language means morning of reflection. It's an initiative that was brought about 5 years ago. Our elders and community leaders of the Boonwurrung community thought we needed to promote and get our message out there that our culture is still thriving, it's still strong and alive, dynamic and vibrant, and we want to get involved in partnerships, work with local government to be involved in policy and planning, and we decided to approach the City of Port Phillip and ask them for an event to take place like this and to be centred around on Australia Day, to also emphasise our other points that we wanted to make as a community, and in partnership with the City of Port Phillip, they unanimously agreed.
And it's part of a wider message that you want to send to the community as well, and that you want to share with the community. What is that message?
The wider message is that basically we acknowledge the events of the past, the horrors of the colonialism that did take place. However, we don't want to be stagnated or chained to the past. We don't want to be in a perpetual state of anger and disenfranchisement and victimhood and being alienated. We want to be a part of society and its policy development and planning, and any plans that, for the Boonwurrung community in particular. We are not a part of the Aboriginal political movement on this matter. This is a local Boonwurrung community initiative, and we have taken it upon ourselves to take a stand, speak up and have our voices heard, and action included that includes us being equal at the table and negotiating and being involved in policy planning and making and getting events such as this out there to the public.
And a lot of this event as well today has been about sharing culture. Why do you think that's really important to share with the community?
I think it's vital. I think it enriches the rest of the community to know that the Boonwurrung culture is still very much alive, strong, dynamic, vibrant, and it has a lot to offer the rest of the people and residents of Euroke or St Kilda, and people can learn and gain knowledge, wisdom, the spiritual connection of that we still have and hold for our land, the stories, the traditions, the laws that still continue, that enriches, that gives authenticity to the land. That it just didn't exist, appear out of nowhere, and we disappeared. We're still very much here, and we're still very much a part of the community, and we want to make our voices heard loud and clear.
Great, thank you so much, Jason. And Michael, there'll be more events throughout the day from First Nations Australians. Many people here are planning to head to the rally later today, so there'll be more to come throughout the day.